Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so let me start off with a question. How many of you have ever been to a Mexican-Serbian family reunion? Okay, don't be shy, raise your hand. Okay, oh, really? Well, I think we're the only ones. Needless to say, in my household and family reunions, we would speak many, many languages, and obviously family reunions were always very, very creative. So growing up, we were the typical middle-class family. Okay, you got me. Let me just restate that for a second. Growing up, we were the quasi-typical middle-class family. From hamburgers to baseball to the YMCA, my parents embraced the American dream. And like many other middle-class families, they believed that when you worked really hard in this country, you too could prosper. But what has happened since my childhood? In 1970, 63% of all households were considered middle class. By 2015, that number had shrunk to less than 43%. So I'd ask you, do you think that the shrinking of the middle class is really drawing some of these inequities we are facing today in income, employment, and housing? I believe that sustainable economies grow when a region, when our cities can find that positive intersection between social and economic demands. And this is calling for a new strategy of economic growth based on economic mobility principles. And in fact, it is this focus that allows this community to continue to grow and be vibrant. Now, there are many factors that impact this strategy, from education, healthcare, to technology. Others, and the ones that I'm going to focus on, are mobility, training, and housing. Now, we are in this great city of Atlanta, and I hope everybody's having a great time. So my case study focuses on Atlanta. But I believe that many of the opportunities and challenges that are faced in Atlanta are also seen in some of your communities. So let's explore that first factor that will support an economic mobility strategy, and that's training. I believe we need to create programs and initiatives that allow an individual to upskill themselves so they have the potential to earn a higher wage and therefore really begin to make a difference in their lives. Now, the economics of this type of strategy are clear. If we are able to reduce neighborhood poverty by 10%, we will have increased a household's income by $7,000 a year. There are over 160,000 families in the Atlanta region today living in poverty. If the region, through workforce training programs, is able to reduce that number by 10%, not only would they be helping the region's families, but they will have injected and stimulated $850 million into their economy. Not only is this good for the human capital, but it's good for business because now business would have access to a highly qualified workforce, helping with the success of their operations. The second factor that's crucial to this new economic mobility strategy is mobility. For mobility to be successful, we have to undertake it as regions, as nations. Why? We know why, because economies do not happen in defined areas and economies do not follow city boundaries. In fact, today in the Atlanta region, 70% of the region's population commutes to a different county every morning. And similarly, businesses have supply chains and customers that cross over city boundaries, hence pointing to the need of a regional transportation system that's going to get people and products from where they are to where they need to be in an effective and efficient manner. The economics of this type of investment are also clear. If we are able to reduce a worker's commute time by 1 hour a week, we could raise their effective salary by $1,000 a year. So let's say the Atlanta region decides to do this for 20% of the region's workforce. Not only would that help the worker, but we will have injected $460 million into the regional economy. And what's in it for businesses? They too will experience productivity gains because now they have a workforce that's readily available on the first, second, or third shifts. The last factor that's important to this new economic mobility strategy is housing, affordable housing. Now, for affordable housing to be effective, it needs to be near a region's job center. Now, let's explore this for a moment. In Atlanta, we know that the average family spends about 63% of their income on housing and transportation. If we were to aggregate that spend for all the families near our region's job center today, that represents about $11 billion. Now, stick with me here. If through affordable housing options, we're able to lower that spend by 5%, not only would we be impacting our family lives, but we will have injected $550 million into our regional economy. Now, I know affordable housing is not easy and that there is no one solution, but I think we can all agree that in the Atlanta region, affordable housing is necessary. Just look at the numbers. The average listing price for a home in the Atlanta region is $310,000. The average rent is $1,900. This means that less than a quarter of the region's population can even afford to live near a job center today. So we can debate my numbers. Heck, we can even debate Atlanta as a case study. But I think if we do, we are missing the point of my time with you and the point of this IEDC conference. And the point is this: an economic mobility strategy has net economic benefits to our economies that are real when we as cities and as regions, as a nation, we focus on factors like training and housing and mobility. We're able to attract and retain our workforce. We're able to support the success of our businesses. We're able to grow our economy. We're able to create quality of place, all while improving the lives of every single individual who call this region home. Think of Eli's story. So I'd ask you this: are we ready to embrace the best version of ourselves? As economic development leaders, are we ready to lead under this new strategy? Because I have no doubt that the reconciliation between economic and social demands to support an economic growth model will allow all of our regions and our cities and this nation to continue to grow and be vibrant. We are a nation built on dreams. Dreams like my parents had and dreams like you have. It's time for all of us to come together. Come together and let's create a place where opportunities are abundant, a place where dreams are realized, a place where all ships rise together. Thank you.